Hello, everyone. So what I would like to do in this class when we are discussing a new concept is that I would like to introduce the concept by talking about a disease that relates to that. So we're going to actually introduce the disease. So we're going to talk about the disease a little bit, then leave it and go through some of the details and content and catch up to the disease at the end again. So we'll do that. So I want to introduce a disease known as Tay-Sachs disease. We will actually mention that several times during the class, but because it's related to cells and how cells function, we'll talk about that as a part of the cells module. So Tay-Sachs is a rare and fatal disease. And I don't know if there are any real treatments even in the world of today, and that can help. But I think it's still considered completely fatal genetic disease. The onset of the disease starts around 6 months, and then death from Tay-Sachs occurs by about 4 years old. And I believe it's a pretty unpleasant life in between. So basically, we're going to talk just about that right now. We're going to talk much more about it at the end of the module, once we learn a little bit more about vocabulary. So talking a little bit about population genetics of this, which where it tends to be more common in people. So it's more common in people of Ashkenazi Jewish descent. Ashkenazi Jews were a population of Jewish people in Europe. And because of their religion and culture, they stayed very isolated reproductively, meaning they would only marry within their small community. And so because of that, a lot of strange conditions kind of got fixed in. And because of the size of the community or the population, that can happen. So we'll talk about that concept later too. And then also it's more common in French Canadians. And again, it's for the similar reason. French Canadians were a small population, and I think because of the language and culture, there were perhaps it was more of an isolated community, even in the midst of a bigger community. So those are a couple of community populations, and there are some other hotspots around the world where this is more common. But it is again a rare fatal genetic disease, and with onset during infancy, really, and then death still during young childhood. So that's all I'm going to say about it, and we'll pick it up after we talk about cells.